Welcome all to the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how great Moab is when you're going all over it in Toyotas and some other vehicles that we will not mention, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name is Tyler. And joining me in, I don't know, what is the studio would this be, Jimmy?
Studio UT?
Uda?
Yeah.
Studio Uda. We're here in Moab, Utah. We're having a good day. At least my day's going well. How's yours going?
Not bad. I passed inspections.
Barely.
I know.
It's okay. Nobody from Cruise Moab actually listens to the podcast, so...
We're lucky.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about that on the drive out here. I was like, I wonder if anybody from the tech inspection team actually listens to the podcast and knows what to look for on our rigs now.
Yeah, exactly. We've notified them on everything that we have that is wrong for their tech, but
yeah. No, we squeezed on through. So I didn't have any issues. They checked everything off and was like, all right, cool, you're all good. And I was like, really? Okay, cool. Thanks. We'll get into that maybe next week as we do kind of a recap of how Moab was for everybody. Today on the docket, we have a really cool interview for you guys. It went a little bit long.
Really? Shocking.
I know, right? And it wasn't my fault this time, okay?
Correct. It was not. I apologize. I found somebody that likes to talk more than Tyler does.
I was impressed. He likes to talk so much. Literally, we sat down and he just started talking. And we were just like, okay, I guess we're not doing an intro for him. We'll just kind of figure this out. And so we're just going to jump right on into with this episode. So I apologize that we didn't get kind of like a warm-up period for everybody to get used to Dan and what he sounds like and who he is. But you'll kind of figure that out as we get through the episode, I think, here. So, I don't know. Do we want to do any housekeeping stuff or just keep this short and sweet?
Let's keep it short and sweet because the interview went a little long.
It did a little bit, but there's some really cool, fun stories there. So we got to sit down. We mentioned Dan. If nobody's met Dan or knows who Dan is, then you haven't been out to Moab, apparently. Dan is pretty much the legend of Moab, as I don't know if he likes to say. I think he jokingly likes to say. It seemed like there was a lot of points when he was like, well, at least that's how I heard it. So right. Apparently the legend of Moab is at least how he's heard him be called. Did I say that right?
I have no idea.
I don't know. But anyways, Dan Mick. So he's been around Moab a very long time. He was the founding vice president of Red Rock Crawlers.
Yep.
Four-wheel drive club, and then shortly after that became the president. He's worked very closely with EJS throughout the years. Has lived in Moab since 1978. Been very involved with Moab in terms of city council stuff, chamber of commerce stuff, search and rescue stuff, owning businesses in Moab. So. Really cool guy, has some really deep-seated and rooted history here in Moab, and that's why we wanted to have him on the show. We've been having kind of going down this rabbit trail of finding some really cool wheeling places in the United States and finding out their history. We wanted to know more about what made those places what they are. And so we've been asking around for different people, and it seems like Dan's name came up quite a few times. And we're like, okay, we need to find this Dan guy and get him on the podcast. And so we hunted him down, and he graciously agreed to an interview here. So he's got some really cool stories, some really cool history of the whole Moab region. Kind of what Moab has been through, what it's kind of going through currently, with some of the restructuring of the trails from BLM and the whole Gemini Bridges stuff. We get into that a little bit. So we've talked a little bit about that on previous episodes. and then kind of what his thoughts are about the future of Moab, and given some of the changes going on right now. So, yeah, you got anything else to add here?
No, it's a great interview, and it was nice to sit down with Dan and get to know him a little bit more. And I hope you guys all enjoy his wonderful voice. He's got a radio voice, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Not quite as good as Merlin, but it is definitely up there for sure. So, yeah. I think you guys are going to enjoy the episode today. We had a lot of fun sitting down with Dan. So I guess without further ado, let's head right on over to the interview with Dan Mick from Dan Mick's Guided Jeep Tours. Sounds like we got the right guy for an interview here, Jimmy.
I'm
excited.
Yeah, we're
going to tell some stories. I should write a book someday, title it, things that happen in Moab, at least the way Dan remembers it. It might not be true,
According to Dan.
Total history of Moab, according to Dan.
Yeah.
Well, I've picked up on a lot of it over the years, but we can talk about things. Moab got its start, I guess, when the pioneers came through here looking for a place to cross the Colorado River so they could get down towards Blanding, where there was a group of settlers who had came across what they call the Hole in the Rock Trail. And they said that was such an impossible task that they couldn't go back and forth through there, so they had to find another way. And, of course, the Spaniards had gone through this valley before, and they're the ones that named things like the mountains out here, La Salle, meaning the Salt Mountains. The Spaniards sailed snow up there, thought it was salty up there, and things like that there. But, the Indians lived here in this area, and they were kind of a pushover. The Spaniards would capture them, take them slave, haul them off to California, and so the Indians were a little leery of people coming through, especially with guns. They hadn't seen a gun before.
Yeah.
The thunder stick came up, smoke came out of it, lightning, thunder. Somebody died,
Mm-hmm.
And so, the Indians were kind of taken back. And when the settlers came in here, there was a group of 24 men, I believe, and they set up what they called the Elk Mountain Mission. And it was down near the river over there. And there's a little bit of remains of it, still foundation that were there, because later on settlers came in, they took the stones and used them in other things. They repurposed it, tore down that building. But they built a nice little place there for them to be in, and they had a garden going outside and stuff, and some cattle and horses. They'd settled in, and they wanted to build a little place that settlers could stop in as they traveled back and forth between Salt Lake and down further south. Well, the Indians came in. They had friendly Indians who they were teaching the gospel to, LDS Church, Mormons, Jesus Christ, and all this. And by the way, I am LDS. I don't smoke or drink, all that kind of stuff. But anyhow, they were teaching the gospel to the Indians. And they'd heard this gospel before from some of the Spanish conquistadors that came through, They taught Christianity. Mm-hmm. And there were some friendly Indians and not so friendly Indians. And one day a group of Indians were down there, and they were ravaging through the crops that were being planted. And they were taking food away from the settlers. The settlers, these guys were out there, whoa, you can't do this. This is our stuff. And a skirmish came about, and they got in a fight. And of course, the settlers didn't want to kill anybody, but the Indians, I believe that history says they killed 2 of the settlers and scattered their animals and horses. And they've holed up in the fort, and the Indians are running around and making noise and everything else. Well, the Indians disappeared in the afternoon. Late evening, this story says that, some of the friendlier Indians came by and said, the bad Indians, they've gone to the mountain to rile up more bad Indians, are coming back in the morning. They plan on killing everybody. We think you should leave.
Get out of here.
And the remaining men packed up that night, and early in the morning, history says they left. They went back to Salt Lake and told Brigham Young, leader of the church at that time, that this was an Indian stronghold not suitable for colonization at this time. And they abandoned the fort and any idea of being down here.
And so did all that happen pretty much right here outside of the town of Moab that we now know it as?
River, right. Okay. Yeah, just off across over there.
Where is the fort?
It's gone, like I said. They tore it all down.
Okay, so was it right by like the river The confluence.
If you go down here where the Motel 6 is at, you go down lane back there on private property, you can see down in some of the trees and bushes a little bit of the rocks that are still there, but
Okay.
they don't like people going down there, so stay out of there. That's where it was at in that general area down there. I actually found a picture that had been painted, a portrait on canvas. It's a long picture, it's about 4 feet long and 2.5 feet tall, and it shows
about the size of this table, then maybe a little smaller.
Yeah, it's about the size of the table.
Okay.
And it shows a picture of the fort, and it shows a man walking in the fort with a deer stretched over his shoulders. He's packing it in there, and there's a couple of cattle and some horses there. And we believe this is William Grandstaff Jr., who was known to the settlers way back then as Nigger Bill.
Yeah.
Now you can't use that word anymore, so we won't. But
well, you can't even apparently use William Grandstaff Jr. anymore.
Well, I don't know.
according to some signs around here.
Yeah, Grandstaff's Canyon is what it's called now. It used to be something else, but the N-word Grandstaff, the N-word Bill. Yeah, but anyhow, he came floating down the river, by himself, and another trapper eventually came by, but he walked into that fort looking for somebody to talk to. There was nobody there. He recognized real quick what had happened.
Everyone got scared off, huh?
Oh, yeah, they were gone. So he decided to settle in, and the stories I've heard is that he, and whether this is true, I don't know 100%, but there's a lot of truth in some stories,
Yeah.
But, the way I've heard it is that, he was burning the weeds and stuff, cleaning up around there. The Indians that stayed on the mountain up here, the LaSalle's, during the summertime to get out of the heat. They'd come down into the valley during the winter to get out of the snow. They seen this smoke down here. They came down to kill them settlers again, Well, they came down here and, they found just Bill. And Bill, he came running outside with just his jeans on and his boots. And, it says that he ran towards this Indian he thought was the chief. And the Indians seen him a-coming. And, they'd never seen a black man before.
Yeah.
And they considered him a cursed evil spirit in a man's body. If he was to touch him, then they would be cursed,
Yeah.
And if they were to kill him, they believed that he would, the evil spirit would transfer from his body back into theirs and continue on. So they didn't want nothing to do with Bill. And it says that, he'd fall on the ground and flop around and spit at the mouth and draw up on one knee, and he'd look at one Indian and he'd look around, he'd pick who he thought was the chief again, and he'd point at him and launch like a football player and take after the guy. Now, he was tall. He was over 6 feet, 7 feet tall, he's a big guy.
Was he looking to confront the chief, or was he just running up just to say hi? And
No,
be
he was out there to just scare the hell out of him.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Chased the Indians all the way to the base of the LaSalle Mountains. And,
Wow.
I've been told that he cursed and he could speak the Ute Indian language. See, he'd learned that from the mountain men he traveled with coming over the mountains. Whenever they ran into Bill, they liked to have him with them because they knew they were traveling in the safe. The Indians wouldn't bother the mountain man, because Bill was with them, stay away from that guy.
Back in the days of the trappers, man, they knew the trappers, the mountain men were the guys. If you wanted to know anything about an area, they knew it.
Well,
it's like your local UPS driver in your neighborhood.
You see my beard and everything here. I got a full mountain man gear, set it up, black powder rifle. We go up to Fort Bridger, Wyoming on Labor Day weekend every year for a week, and we play mountain man rendezvous.
Which is why we contacted you.
Well, I get up there, Right now you might notice I'm missing a tooth or two in the front of my mouth here. I'm getting some dental work done, But I like to tell people I'm from Minnesota, don't you know? I used to play a lot of street hockey up there. I caught that puck in the mouth once or twice. And then we had those fights in front of the goalie's net,
Yeah.
And I used to see the other guy. He came out a lot better, a lot worse than I did. Yeah, sure, you betcha. It was a lot of fun. But, I'll get my new teeth put in here in another year or so, less than a year or so.
Nice. So let's take a break from the history and get to you a little bit here. So how long have you been in the Moab region?
Well, let me tell a little more history for a minute.
Okay, sure.
You see, Bill, he was there when the settlers came in, and that picture I was telling you about shows a little wagon wheel coming, coming in there, settlers, an ox cart pulling a wagon.
Okay.
And they're coming back in, and they pushed Bill out of the fort eventually, traded some cattle. He went up into a canyon nearby. That's why the canyon was named after him. Anyhow, he pushed his cattle out of there, went over towards Glenwood Springs, sold the cattle to the miners for money, gold. He opened up a saloon over there, I understand.
Okay.
And that's where he lived until he passed away over there. And,
is the saloon still there by chance?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
Nope, not at all.
So what era time frame did all that kind of happen in?
Oh, the 1860s, 70s, 80s, 90s.
Okay.
All through that area there,
Gotcha.
But the settlers came into Moab. Moab was set up, as the county seat for Grand County in 1902, I believe it was.
Okay.
And, it was just a bunch of settlers in here, and they were farming, and, the Indians had gotten out of this area, and they had the valley to themselves here.
Did it kind of originate as a kind of a stopping point along the way over to California for the gold rush times?
No, not for gold rush. No,
okay.
That was before this.
Yeah.
No. But, the Pony Express did not run right down through here, but it did run north of here,
Okay.
Was there good agriculture in this area?
This was good agriculture.
Okay.
Lots of fruits and such they grew. The pioneers brought along with them, apples and that kind of stuff. They had a lot of good things, peaches, pears. Mm-hmm. That's what they did. And, there was a little oil and gas exploration, there's sheep herding. Well, there was some sheep herdings. We had them range wars between the cattle and the sheep herders. And they drew lines. You stay here, we'll stay there. And there was an incident where another black guy riding trail for the cattle company ran into a guy that was sheep herding where he shouldn't have been. And the sheep herder guy went for his rifle, and the other guy, the black guy, he had a pistol underneath his pocket there, and he pulled it out and he shot the guy. And that was quite a controversial thing. The family of the guy that was shot eventually caught this guy, and they beat him to death.
Wow.
There's a wild little town here, They hung people out here. Sheriff did, and the sheriff got shot and killed a time or two. It was crazy,
Wow.
Outlaws were here, going back and forth between Telluride and the hole in the rock area out here where they could go get lost, And it was quite the little town here.
Wow.
And then somebody in 1952 yelled, uranium. It was like yelling for gold. And the town exploded. It went from 800 to 8,000 people in about 8 months,
Jeez.
Wow.
And along with the candlestick makers and the bakers and the cooks and everything else.
Everybody to supply all the goods.
You had the ladies of the night supplying their goods too. And the bars opened up. And the town got kind of rowdy through the 1950s and 60s. And uranium boomed and busted, and the town grew and went, this, that, the other. And I moved here in 78, and a guy named George Schultz, he wanted to start a four-wheel drive club because he was a uranium miner. He was looking for that big strike to make himself millions of dollars. And he was, wanting to keep the trails open. He could see that the Bureau of Land Management, which used to be the Bureau of Livestock and Mining, they changed the name to BLM, different words. They were going to be closing trails around this area, roads off that were no longer needed for uranium exploration.
Gotcha. So that was the main thing of it. Recreation wasn't a big point of it. It was just
nothing.
Purely industrial use. And if it wasn't being used anymore.
Back in about 67, the Chamber of Commerce, they had the first annual Easter Jeep Safari.
67?
Yeah, 67.
Wow. Okay.
And when I got involved with it, was the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, Now, George, he started the four-wheel drive club. I was down there to the first meeting. We decided to call it the Red Rock Four-Wheelers. We came up with the goofy little decal. His wife did and such. And he was president and I was vice president. I was in the military. I always liked being in charge of things, and I was willing to be the vice president. So I said, yep, I'll do that.
Yeah, I can do that. I can handle the VP seat for a little bit.
Yeah, George married a woman who worked for the BLM down here, thinking that I believe that he'd help with getting his uranium claims through a little easier.
Okay.
But, they had some kids, and in the end, he went into the BLM office one day to do her in with a 45 or something like that he had. And he didn't find her because she'd snuck out the door the night before and left.
Wow.
Went south of here down to Monticello, George was going to put somebody else dead there, the guy Gene Nodine. But Sheriff Nyland talked him out of killing anybody and let him come out and sit in a pickup truck and talk to his son before they took him into custody,
Wow.
Well, he didn't leave the gun on the table.
And that was over uranium claim? BLM was going to shut down on some of his claims, or what?
No, he was just not happy with the way everything, life in general was going. His marriage and everything else. And so, he gave his kid the title to everything that he owned and didn't want her to end up with anything, And instead of surrendering, he got in a fight with his kid inside the truck, and he ran out of the truck up into the hills right there. And, in a flash and a bang, I was president of the Red Rock 4-Wheel Drive Club.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was a loss for us,
Mm-hmm.
And but the 20th annual Jeep Safari was going to be coming around next, 6 months or so, and I said, I believe people will come here all week if we just run trails. We were already doing pre-runs on trails to make sure the trail was open.
Yeah.
The week before, people would go out and look on. People are showing up. Hey, we understand you're going out on trails,
Mm-hmm.
So we said, let's make it a week-long event, and some of the club members were all behind me. Yeah, we can do that.
Nice.
And I took my little new to me Aerostar van, new to my wife. I took it away from her, and we went all the way to California and around to their conventions and such, and we talked to people. Come to Moab for what we're called a Jeep Safari. Well, we've heard about that. It's a one-day event. It's too far to go for just one day. No. We got 3 campgrounds, you can park in. Now we got 30.
Wow.
And, you can come for a whole week, and we'll take you out four-wheeling. Really? Well, that'd be worth dragging the camper all the way out there,
Nice.
And so people did that. They came to Moab, and we had a great Jeep Safari for the 20th. And by the 25th, we had so many people we couldn't almost handle them all.
So what was Jeep Safari like before you opened the trails up for guided tours to some extent? Was it just a one-day event?
It was a one-day only event
trail?
ran by the Chamber of Commerce president. In some years, the president didn't even own a 4-wheel drive. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
That's why they were so anxious to turn it over to our 4-wheel drive club to take it and go with it.
Oh, that's so it was always a Chamber of Commerce run event rather than an off-road club.
Yep.
Kind of thing. Interesting. Okay.
A one-day event.
Yeah.
They would line up all on Main Street in different areas depending on what trail you wanted to go. And at 9 o'clock, they'd shut down traffic and everybody'd get out of town, We continued to do that for a long time until it just got out of control with all the people and other tourists in town. Can't block off town anymore. So now we meet outside of town at different locations.
Okay.
And go take off and go from wherever we're going to go.
How many people would you guesstimate showed up for the 20th year, which was the first year week long
Well, it
event?
went from like 250 to about 750 or so,
Wow.
And by the 25th, we had thousands of people showing up with vehicles.
Jeez.
And it just grew so big. Hey, if you're going to go do Hell's Revenge, I'd stand on the back of a tailgate of the Jeep in what is now Dewey's, which used to be Eddie McStiff's, which used to be called The Barn,
Okay.
that had farm equipment in it. And we'd sit in that parking lot, and I'd stand up. You're going to go out on Hell's Ridge, go with Jim Dordello. Hey, raise your hand up. Texas Bob's going here. Sensenbrenner, he's going to go there. And
Traffic controller to the trailheads. Huh?
tell people to go follow these guys and get out there and go, And so, he's parked over here, he's parked over there,
How many people do you think comes out to EJS now?
Wow, we put on a great big convention center event out here where we have, 30 or so big semis from companies that are parked there. And then we have inside, we have all the booths there for people to look at. And this year they had another convention further south of town at a little off-road area where they had another 50 or so vendors there.
So you guys Canyonlands? Canyonlands?
What about Canyonlands?
Was it the other event center down there?
No.
No.
So you guys had 2 event centers this year.
Yeah, but it wasn't run by the other one. It was run by Red Rock 4-wheelers. There was somebody else doing stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're kind of piggybacking on what we do.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So
we had a good time. Lots of people there, and people get to go see both of them. And tourism exploded. There was a point in time when uranium was going along, the Jeep Safari was doing its thing, and other events in town were growing, like the car show, which is going to happen this weekend.
Oh,
Saturday.
there's a car show going on this weekend?
Oh, man, you want to go down to the park downtown.
Oh, man, we're supposed to be doing Golden Spike on Saturday, which is a long day.
Yeah, I know. That's the trail I pioneered across there.
But, really?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get into those in a bit.
Yeah, but, the big car show is a big event this weekend. You're lucky to have a place to stay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why you're paying so much for this room
Maybe,
right now.
probably. I want to step back a little bit also, back to that first event for EJS. Why did they start that? Why did the Chamber of Commerce think that trail driving or going out on an event was a good idea?
Well, you had the two guys that wanted to start it. One was the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and the other one was the mayor. And
two good people if you want to start a citywide event.
Yeah, the town had just had, uranium mining was one thing going on here, but there was boom and busting. It was in a bust cycle at the moment there. Mm-hmm. They're also doing potash, potassium, fertilizer.
Oh, okay.
They had a big cave-in explosion. They had men trapped. It was a really economic down thing for the town. And they were like, let's do something positive. Let's go do this. It was Harold Gaither and Harold, the other guy's name escapes my memory at the moment here, but the two Harolds got together and they put on that first event. They got some people from town with the Jeeps and whatever they drove. And they actually ran a bulldozer down Pritchett Canyon from the top to the bottom and connected two runs that were in that area.
Uh-huh.
And that started the first trail that was run. Now, they had people with motorcycles, little trail bikes, running back and forth, passing notes from the middle or the back of the pack to somebody up at the front, saying, we got to roll over back here, we need some help, or whatever. Jeez. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they used to fly over the top with an airplane and drop ice cream, too. To everybody,
cool.
Frozen ice cream. That was a cool thing, too,
How do we sign up for that today?
Well, there's still a couple trails where trail leaders do that,
Uh-huh.
They hire somebody to drop it on them,
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm sure if you go out on a trail, you can find some just laying there.
Some ice cream
back
on
from
the side.
like 640s
well,
or whatever.
Today, I got some coolers, that you plug in, make stuff cool. It just
Those are neat.
take a longer. I found out that the ice cream doesn't do as good as those little frozen popsicle things.
Like Otter Pops?
Yeah, they do better, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you freeze them in the freezer and just stick them in there. It can maintain it good.
Yeah, I usually, each year our off-road club does a summer picnic and I bring Otter Pops in my fridge and I just put the fridge down at like 8 degrees and we got Otter Pops for the summer camp out.
My kids love it too.
Yeah, it's great.
So do moms and dads.
Yeah. Yeah, we get the adult ones that have some liquor and tequila and stuff built into the Otter Pops. They're great.
No, they made those.
Oh, those are amazing. You got to check those out.
Yeah, like I said, I don't drink, so there you go.
That's right, yeah. Okay, cool. So was Pritchett Canyon the first trail out here?
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
And the next year, they cut a trail up over the Moab Rim,
Okay.
I know that one of the ranchers up there that pushed cattle up what they call this other side, you'd get up in there in the Hidden Valley area, they called it.
Okay.
And he was up there riding with his son, and his son told me, he said, Dad's like, yeah, he says, this is one place you'll never see those damn Jeeps. Because Jeeps were from the military, CJs. And he said he ran across a set of tire tracks in the desert up there, and he says his dad cursed all day long.
As soon as they saw
them damn Jeeps are going to be everywhere here in another 50 years,
Yeah, we got to do a really cool interview about the history of the Rubicon. And there was somebody that had a claim down at the island in Buck Island Lake.
Right.
And he said, sure as hell, as soon as he saw the first military surplus Jeep come through, he said the same thing. God damn it, now there's going to be Jeeps here all the time.
Oh, yeah.
He ruined his driveway.
Yeah.
I've been there before. That's fun. We were talking about the Rubicon. We pulled out of our camp and we sat for 4 hours because somebody busted a hub going up Cadillac Hill.
Yeah.
Anybody got you on the radio? Anybody got an extra hub? Anybody got a hub?
Yep. Put the word out. Send the motorcycle down the trail looking for an extra spare parts.
Just draw that thing out of there with a strap. Get it on there.
Cool. So we got Pritchett Canyon, Moab Rim. It was how quickly did trails expand once they started cutting trails?
Well, I'm not so much familiar with that, but they were there, and trails started getting names, like Poison Spider Mesa, for instance, Nobody knew why Poison Spider was called Poison Spider Mesa.
That was going to be my next question, but
yeah. So one day when we were sitting around Pizza Hut after running the Golden Spike, we decided, we'll come up with a story,
Nice.
And so, there's a friend of mine, Zeke Francis. He's deceased now, but, that was a good name. And, Mary Jane was I guess, great something of Zeke. Anyhow, Zeke's grandfather, was one of these boys that was a brother. And we come up with Mary Jane, that she had died up there from the bite of a poison spider. Went into anaphylactic shock, whatever it is. They buried her up there, They carried the rocks up from the river to put on the grave to keep the coyotes from digging in it and such, We tell the whole story, and I'll have, your wife riding with me in my vehicle. And I'll say, okay, when I take off my hat and scratch my head, that's when you're supposed to say, she was 7 years old, wasn't she? And as soon as you say that, I'll go, yeah, how do you know that? And she'd say, I read about it in a book somewhere. And that's when her husband would say, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. She reads everything. Now all the other 30 Jeeps that are in your group, they all believe the story because she read it,
Yeah.
And then I can feed them a whole bullshit line,
It sounds like how whitewater rafters work too.
Yeah, if you don't know the truth, make up a story. But the grave is still up there. I'm going to go visit tomorrow with some friends of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a pile of rocks up there?
Oh, they're still there.
Oh, did you?
I built the headstone, and I drug it behind my tractor in the field. I wrapped a rope around it, try to antique it a little bit,
Get some patina on it.
Yeah, because where I chipped the name and everything, it looked too new, Still didn't look good, so I poured gasoline on it and lit it on fire. That didn't do much for it, rock. So I poured some oil on it. And that oil got down in there and it stained. It made it look pretty good. And so I'd take it up there and I would bury it. And it'd be right there at the head of that rock pile.
Nice.
And just have a little corner of it sticking out. And I'd start telling the story and somebody'd look at that rock. I said, yeah, it used to be a headstone here. I seen photos, black and white photos.
And then they would magically find the headstone
exactly.
in the corner.
Wow, look what you found. Oh, my goodness. Woo, look at that. And,
Dad.
Before they would leave, my tail gunner would always bury it again before the next group would come by. We'd talk about this little girl that got bit, and we'd talk and chatting on the radio. The wives were talking back and forth and everything. All the way to that point, and then for the next half hour, it's really quiet,
Yeah.
That poor little girl buried up there all by herself. Oh, yeah.
Spend the weekend building up to the story, and then somebody magically finds the headstone.
I know. Well, actually, there was a magazine one day did a story about the grave up there, and they contacted the BLM, and they didn't know anything about it. They contacted the newspaper. They didn't know anything about it. They contacted the cemetery district, and they didn't know anything about it. But if you find something out, we'd like to know because we're tasked with taking care of all the old pioneer graves around here, documenting them all. Well, they finally got a hold of Burr Knight, and Burr says, you probably need to go talk to Dan. He can tell you the story about that.
Poor Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Yeah, Burr Knight was a really good Jeeper. He mapped all the trails in the Moab area by himself. He passed away last year.
Like for surveying or for like electronic GPS? Or all of
GPS stuff. For a lot of it, he turned all that information over to the BLM to prove that we had trails here and there and everywhere else,
Yeah.
He did all that kind of work, helped a lot.
Yeah, nowadays, if a trail isn't in the BLM's inventory, it doesn't exist and you're not allowed to be out there.
Well, a few years back here, they inventoried everything again, had a big public meetings and all.
That's right, yeah.
And we had 5,000 miles of trails, and now we got less than 3.
Yeah.
Because they said, well, this trail's running in a wash right alongside a road. It's the same view from the road. Get up there and stay on the road. They didn't understand.
They don't
feels like
the
fly
recreation
down
point.
Flying through the wash, kicking up a little sand, having some fun,
That's a bummer. They just assume that everything out here is just for the view, and that's it, not the experience.
Kind of, yeah. But, they had all that dust all in the air. It cuts down the view at Dead Horse Point and such, Go out there today and take a look right now. Look at all the smoke in the air coming from the fire out of Flagstaff.
Is that what it's from?
Yeah.
Okay, I was curious.
Yeah, it was a pretty overcast, smoky day today.
Yeah. Sunset last night was lousy.
Yeah, we're trying to go up to the top of the world tonight for sunset, and we're like, I don't know if it's going to be anything.
It could be great. It could be another bummer.
Right.
The clouds last night moved in with this stuff and kind of loused up.
Yeah.
I do guided Jeep tours in Moab now, We do a morning, afternoon, and sunset tour. And our sunset's always the most popular. We do it out on Hell's Revenge because it's close to town. Got a lot of close obstacles. A lot of the obstacles out there, I was the first guy to ever go up and in and out of, like the gates of hell. Mickey's hot tub, escalator, things like that,
What were you doing? What vehicle did you have at that time?
Oh, CJ7.
Okay.
Had some 31 1050s on it. I thought I was a big dog. We're all running 39s or so, bigger on tires right now. I'd like to go bigger, but I can't get torsed up in the Jeep the way it is almost. I got to use a step. But, 31 1050s. I remember I bought them down here at Grand Tire from a guy named Chip Brox. He was a great guy also. It was known you go down to Chip's to get a tire repaired. It didn't call it anything else. He owned the blue sky above the building, Yep, he was another great guy, another great trail leader and such too,
How long have you been doing the specific your own guided Jeep tours out here then?
Well, I owned a body shop in town when I came here. I worked for a guy and then opened up my own. And then I moved out of that building. And that was about 92 when I started doing my own thing there.
Nice.
And
Dan Mick's Jeep Tours, right?
I called it Great Jeep and Tours, GR8 GPN, like a license plate,
Okay.
Nobody could figure it out. So then I renamed it Canyonlands Jeep Tours.
There you go. Okay.
And then I went back to, I should have my name on it. So I just called it Dan Mick's Guided Jeep Tours.
Nice.
I was doing a lot of guiding, and more now it's more just Dan Mick's Jeep Tours, I used to do all the tours myself. Now I got a handful of guides that help. And I hired a kid last year. He's 22 years old. Told him I couldn't hire him because my insurance wouldn't cover him.
Oh, no.
And, with talking with the kid, he told me, well, I'm an Eagle Scout. He showed me his card and everything. And so I called up my insurance guy. He said, no, we can't hire him. I said, but he's an Eagle Scout. Oh, go ahead and hire him.
Really? Wow.
Being an Eagle Scout is,
Wow.
you're not out chasing girls and making stuff. You're working towards that goal when you're 17, 18 years old. And, he's a good kid.
Nice.
First week on the job, he laid one of my Jeeps on its side going up out of the gates of hell.
I've done that.
Luckily, he stuck his hand out there between the roll bar and the rock, so he didn't hurt the Jeep at all.
That's good. Caught the whole Jeep.
Did he catch his hand?
Oh, yeah, he pinched his knuckles pretty good there,
Wow.
He says, I don't think anything's broke. It was swollen up a bit, but he didn't want to complain. Well, he didn't want to lose his job,
Yeah.
He's a good kid.
So would you say that there's more people coming out to just kind of vacation out here and then take guided tours, Jeep tours, whatever out here versus people coming out to run the trails in their own vehicles? What's the mix there?
No, there's a lot of people running trails in their own vehicles for sure, but we have a lot of people coming to visit, Arches and Canyonlands and Dead Horse Point. We got 3 parks right here, and soon we're going to have another 4th one, the Dinosaur Park out here.
Oh, that's right. I heard about that.
Yeah, that's going to go in. And the town is overrun. Right now, you can't get into Arches unless you got a reservation. You got to go online for it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And such, it's got really crazy. And
Elephant Hill only allows, 8 vehicles per day or something like that?
Yeah, they got something down there. I haven't been down there since they did that, but Elephant Hill area is a gorgeous area to run over out there. And if you know the way to get in through the back door, well, then, you can still get in that way and come out around. But, yeah. Quite the area out there. You can get lost out there for a day or two, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my dad was out here, did a night run one time, and got split off from his group and got lost at nighttime for a little bit out here. So,
yeah,
it happens.
Well, during EJS, I would run a night run for Super Chips, and we'd go out, we'd run part of the fins and things trail over the rock fins. And first thing we did was we taped up all the tail lights and all the dash and all the headlights off on everything.
Oh, interesting.
And with the full moon coming out, it would be pretty bright. Your eyes adjusted.
Yeah.
And you can see very well in the dark,
Yeah.
So running that whole trail in the dark up and down the fins, that had some people concerned a time or two,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
When I'd get back off the trail and count about 98 vehicles all off the trail, and that's what we started in with, I was like, thank you, Lord.
We're good.
It was always after midnight when I got back home, and I was just glad to be able to I'd lay in bed and couldn't get to sleep,
If one more was still out there. Yeah.
That's fun.
So I want to hear about Golden Spike. So you're the first person that ran Golden Spike. You cut that trail, in essence?
Probably not the first person to cut the trail.
Okay.
First one in a Jeep, yes. And named the trail, yes.
Okay.
There was cowboys going across there pushing cattle back and forth. And there was a time or two somebody rode across all the way on a motorcycle, but it was never laid out as a trail at all. They were up in that area, off Poison Spider to do some surveying when they built the railroad tunnel underneath Gold Bar out there, get it out to the potash mining operation. It's a tunnel that's 1.5 miles long underground.
Wow.
And I've walked it, but I don't want to drive my vehicle through it. I know some people that have driven through it, and I probably would have done it in my younger days if I could have got away with it. But
yeah,
it never come up. Just kind of like Lionsback. I used to go up and down Lionsback quite a bit. I actually lived here 12 years before I did it the first time.
Oh, yeah?
Really?
And, yeah, we did it for a television commercial with BFG and some stuff that they were doing. And, they wanted me to go out and do it. And I said, okay. I said, let's go up there after church and do a couple of practice runs, show you what it's like to the producer and director. So we got all the way to the top, and the guy goes, wow, this is beautiful. It's just what we want. Perfect. How many times do you think you've been up and down here? I said, count today. One. I said, I'm not down yet,
Yeah, I'm only came up.
Yeah. But back to the Golden Spike, I wanted to make a connection between there. I'd been up there one time. One of our club members, he'd gone up there. He worked for the BLM, and I don't think I ever seen him sober a day of his life. I can't remember his name. But he's one of them guys with the big red nose,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he was up there with another guy. They got stuck on the rocks. So we were up there. We got to a point where we abandoned Jeeps and started hiking in there. We finally found them because it was over all kinds of stuff you couldn't believe, it seemed like, They were high centered on rock. We got up there and said, you guys, you okay? You need something? Yeah, we split our last beer for breakfast. You got any more beer? Oh, I tell you.
Oh, that's great.
Beer and Jeep don't mix, just like, on the highway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I look at accidents I see around on Hell's Revenge, people lost their lives. There's always beer involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Save it for when you get back to camp, guys,
Yep. Two simple things on the trail is no beer and wear your seatbelts.
Exactly.
And that solves a lot of problems in the off-roading world.
And I'm guilty of not wearing my seatbelt much, but I do tell people, like at the bottom of the gates of hell, I slip mine on. I tell them earlier in the trail, I said, when you see me put my seatbelt on, you should probably get out. You should wear yours now. So when I just kind of casually reach over and grab that thing and pull it way high in the air and snap it on, oh shit, they're getting excited. They know something fun's going to happen. And you've probably seen videos if you just type in gates of hell. There's lots of videos of the girl rolling over 2.5 times to the bottom. Lots of people messed up there with side-by-sides, ATVs, whatever. Motorcycles are fun to watch because they always crash.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen a motorcycle go up there.
I don't know if I want to.
Yeah.
The too high gear.
Pop a wheelie and just over backwards. Yeah, we were in there last year after we were in there in the middle of a rainstorm. And so I just couldn't get my passenger side to stay up on the wall on the passenger side, kept sliding down. So I rolled over after we got me righted back down to the bottom so we can, clear my cylinders. I had to oil my cylinders. We put tarps over and cleared it out. But while we were doing that, a group of side-by-sides came by. And so they were starting to go up it. And they got up to that top ledge, the last ledge you have to go over before it kind of evens out and you pop out of the top. And he just gunned it and endoed backwards. And came down 2 or 3 times, and we thought he was coming all the way down right on top of us. And
there was a great video of a guy come all the way up there and stalled his vehicle, and then he rolled all the way backwards without rolling the vehicle. He just reversed all the way down the whole thing, and he smashes right into the vehicle down there that was waiting.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Cratered the whole front end of it, man. Probably totaled it out too,
Yeah.
Wow.
There's been a number of accidents there over the years,
I can imagine you've probably seen and witnessed a lot of the carnage and after effects. Well, like some of the accidents out here.
Go back to Lionsback, the famous one there. Type in Moab the crash. You'll see Tina Hasty and her husband Sean in a Chevrolet Blazer.
Oh, is it?
A lot of people say it was a Bronco, wasn't it? No, it was a Chevy Blazer. He'd driven to the top and turned around, come back down. He asked her if she wanted to try it, and the vacation had loosened him up. She'd been married about 6 months, no kids. So she drove up to the top. Sean coaxed her all the way. He turned it around up on top and started back down. I found out last year that Sean's a little afraid of heights. You see, now he's in the passenger seat and he's gliding close to the edge. He told her to move to the center,
Oh, get away from the edge.
Yeah, and that's when she dropped the tire down in the hole and the rear end went up in the air. She nailed the brakes really hard and blew apart the brake caliper. And,
wow.
If you watch
really
the video,
hard. Jeez.
It was off to the races all the way to the bottom, landed on its nose, over on its roof. She broke legs and stuff, and then he broke arm and elbow. And they had quite a bit of surgery to get fixed up. They got taken out here with an ambulance and all that. Well, she came back and she did a number of stories, for like Rescue 911 and things like that, where they'd interview her at the bottom of the hill and they'd talk about it and they'd play that video of her crashing, Well, I got a phone call years ago from a company, Worst Case Scenario. They wanted to challenge her to go up and down it again. They wanted me to be the expert driver.
Oh, interesting.
And so, I took her out in a Jeep. Mine wasn't very good, so I talked Chrysler into leaving. We would test vehicles here.
Okay.
I talked them into leaving one of their brand new red Rubicons.
Okay.
And they left it, and it had a crack in the windshield. But, we took that and drove it around up on fins and things, and she cried. The first time I dropped it off a rock and hit, she's in the back seat there.
PTSD is kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She had a hard time getting in a vehicle, it's 4-wheel drive, and doing anything,
Wow.
Yeah, she told me, when her husband would drive down fast down into Denver, he had to slow down, get in the breakdown lane because it bothered her.
Wow.
She said if the Mustang and a Corvette pulled up alongside of her, and squealed the tires away, she couldn't move.
Wow.
So
Wow, that's crazy.
she wanted to beat this thing. Well, they told me they had this video of a girl crashing. They wanted me to take her up there, and I said, yeah, Tina. Oh, you know Tina? Yeah, Tina Histy. I know who she is. I was president of the club back when they crashed off of there.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't there during the crash, but I was there immediately right after because they contacted me, said there's a bad accident, and I rushed up there. But anyhow, they were here on their own with a bunch of friends, and after that accident, they all pretty much mothballed and closed their club down,
Wow.
And,
That's too bad.
Yeah, they lived over in the Rifle area, Grand Junction, over that area, Colorado.
Had they been out here numerous times before? Like, did they know the area?
So
or?
they were out there with a family group of people, and everybody was doing it, and he did it. And quite frankly, the old Blazer was a POS, and the brakes were bad. And when you go down and they tell you I can't turn your rotors anymore because they're wore out, you need to replace them. His brake pads were bad, everything was bad, and she put it, the caliper squirted out, and she hit the brakes once and twice, and she says that she thought for sure one or both of them were going to die right there, as it went out of control.
Mm-hmm.
She tried to cram it into park with an automatic. That didn't do anything, just strip off detent valves.
Yeah.
Turned off the key. That didn't do anything but lose power steering. She did a number of things wrong, see. And we taught her all the things that she needed to do in an accident like that. Mm-hmm. And that's what we talked about in that story that was on Worst Case Scenario. It was narrated, by Mike Rowe, who does Dirty Jobs and other things, back then when he was a young man,
Yeah.
He's a good guy too,
Yeah. I've always wanted to meet him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
But anyhow, it was a good time. We got at the bottom of the hill there after I taught her how to drive the Jeep, and we'd practice on, Big Hill number 1 and 2 on Hell's Revenge. And I showed her how, if she panicked, all she had to do was just hold the wheel. She took her feet off the gas. It was in, a manual transmission. I could, first gear, just pull the emergency brake, turn the key, and it would kill it right there.
Yep.
We practiced that a couple, 3, 4 times, you
Okay.
know. But my wife and others thought I was crazy to sit in the car with her as she drove up there. So they're hooking up video cameras and stuff to the car, and me, microphone in your pocket, all that stuff. And every once in a while, she'd walk over. We're at the base of the hill, get ready to go up there. She'd walk over there and she'd wipe tears away from her eyes, take her glasses off and put them back on. And she had some sunglasses on. And she'd come back over. I knew she was really, really emotional about this. This thing had almost killed her, and she's now going to attempt to drive up and come back down again.
Yeah.
So when she wasn't looking, I took a shiny penny out of my pocket, and I threw it on the ground there nearby. Next time she went over there and she took off the glasses and started wiping her eyes, she spotted that shiny penny. She put it between her toes, and it was heads up. I made sure it was heads up. That'd be a good sign,
Yeah.
She reached down, she picked it up, looked left and right, and I'm looking on my glasses sideways so she couldn't see me, looking straight at her. And she picked up that penny, she kissed it, she threw it down her bra, and she came back, rolled back her shoulders, and her husband just happened to say, "Honey, are you sure you want to do this?" She says, "Yeah, I want to do this. I want to prove to my kids that Mommy's a brave mommy."
Wow.
That's
a cool story.
And so, when we got ready to go, she's in there. I got her in the car and in the Jeep, and I sat in the passenger seat. And we actually had a cameraman in the back that neither one of us remember him being there because we were so focused on each other, you know.
Yeah.
And we're ready to go, and the producer yells, "Hold it." They wanted to be at the top of the hill when she got up there. And so we're sitting at the bottom while these guys climb all the way to the top. Lines back, takes them 3, 4, 5 minutes to get up there. We're waiting. It's like calling a a timeout on a free throw shot.
Oh, geez.
To win
icing the
NBA.
kicker. Yeah.
Icing them, you know. Yeah, they iced her bad. So anyway, I asked her, I said, would you like to have a quick prayer before we go? Yes. And we asked a quick prayer from Heavenly Father. We'd be able to get up to the top, back down again. Equipment would work. They'd get the film they wanted. Return back to our families, even safe and sound, you know. And about that time, it crackled over the radio, you know, action. She dropped the clutch, and we took off. And I told her just to hold it, you know, at about 1,200 RPMs. We'd go all the way to the top just fine. Well, we're at 12, and then 17, and then 22, and then 32, and she's pushing 42 and hitting the rev limiter. And I said, Tina, you mind backing off just a little bit? And she's over there biting her lip. She's going up that hill. She said, going up was no problem. Coming down would be the problem, you know. We got up on top, and we parked it, and I turned the vehicle around. We took 2 rocks with us, and I put the 2 rocks where they needed to drive between.
Okay.
You had to be off-center to the right just a little bit, you know, to avoid that hole that you don't see. Little crack there. And so we went down, started down it, and I said, Tina, I says, what are we doing? Lion's back. You know, this is the spot right here, isn't it? Yeah. What happened? Brakes. Why are we doing this? My kids. Who's waiting at the bottom? My husband. She just one word, you know, all the way down. We rolled down into the bottom down there. I'm trying to keep some kind of an audio track going with the video, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, we rolled down there, and her husband reached in to give her a great big old hug, and I had to pull the emergency brake, turn off the key, because she just stopped driving. About ran into some bushes there, you know.
She like hopped out of the vehicle before it even stopped.
She was excited she survived it, you know. She was my kind of a heroine right there.
Yeah.
You know? I admire people like her, you know. Then they wanted her husband to drive to the top. Not that they needed the footage, but they might, you know. Now I'm nervous because I hadn't ridden with him. When we got to the top, he tried to go straight down the middle, and I had to jerk the wheel over to the side.
Come over this way.
And that's what he realized, I think, that, you know, wow, maybe I caused her to be in the wrong line, you know.
Yeah, interesting.
But they made it all the way down with him, too, and she called up her mom and dad when we were at the bottom. The cameras off the vehicle and everything. And, you know, guess where I'm at? I don't know, the mall? No, Moab. What are you doing in Moab? I'm at Lions Back. What are you doing at Lions Back? I'm with Dan Mick. God, we know who Dan Mick is. You're not.
What are you doing there?
I've been to the top and down again. We got the film. You know, get the pink Jeep out of the barn, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, awesome.
But yep. She's came to Moab a number of times since, and we go out and have dinner. We four-wheel, and they ride along with us and have a good time. And I always thought that Jeep should have gave her that red Jeep. You know.
Yeah.
They took it back home, and they just crushed the stupid thing anyhow.
Oh, no.
You know? Oh, yeah, they crush anything like that.
Jeez.
But if they'd have gave it to her, and if they'd had a picture of the Blazer above her, you know, jumping off the rock, and if they'd had her smiling, holding the keys in front of that red Jeep, which we took some pictures like that, they could have imposed them all together.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they could have said only in a Jeep.
Yeah. Marketing opportunity missed.
Yeah, I know. But she did
don't
a
ever
good deal
do
there.
Lions Back in a Blazer, huh?
Yeah.
No, don't. A lot of them do. You know, there's a Toyota stuck off the side there. It fell off when people were trying to go up, and they got turned around and slid sideways and went down in the hole. There was a guy and 2 girls in that one. Airbags and stuff, seatbelts saved their lives. No broken bones. But they probably won't go four-wheeling again for a while, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And now Lions Back's closed.
Yeah, it got closed. A bunch of developers up there. If you go by there, there's bulldozers up there running over the desert, you know, knocking everything down, building pads for, you know, homes that'll be up there. It's a private contractor. They got deep pockets. And, of course, if, you know, with today's all the ATVs, they'd be running up down that thing.
Oh, man.
And, yeah, you know, there'd be somebody falling off that thing.
Oh, yeah. UTVs going up and down Lions Back would be interesting. That would be.
Same with Jeeps and such, but, you know what I mean? It'd just be disastrous. So you know, they closed it for, you know, purposes, not having somebody sue them over a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's gone.
So let's talk about the evolution from, you know, sort of like 10, 15 years ago up into today with like side-by-sides and a bunch of ATVs in the area and lot more.
Let's go back, talk a little bit about the Golden Spike.
Okay. Yeah.
I told you earlier, I kind of travel with my stories.
Yeah, that's okay.
You know, the Golden Spike
like
Trail
that.
there. Well, you know, we wanted to make a connection from one side to the other, and I standing on the back of the tailgate in that parking lot, got everybody gone. I looked out there, there's still about 60 people I said, where are you going? He said, well, we heard you were going to do something fun today, because I told Texas Bob to start over on Gold Bar and I'd start on Poison Spider. We wouldn't go, we wouldn't stop till we touched hands in the middle, So that's how we did that thing, And I had a great big pair of binoculars some guy gave me one time there, and was up there looking, see if I could spot a vehicle way out there on the ridge, which I couldn't. And he says, what do you see? I said, BYU just made a touchdown. They were big binoculars. But anyhow, it was kind of fun. But we got all the way across there. We touched fingertips in the middle and called it the Golden Spike Trail. I did, because like 2 trains coming across the continent, northern Utah,
Got it.
Okay.
We drove a Golden Spike up there. Well, we came across, so we called it Golden Spike. That's how it got its name.
Gotcha.
We got all Canterbury orange spray paint. We rode on the rocks, Golden Spike Trail and everything, which you get in trouble today for doing.
Yeah.
But we used to do that. We used to go up there and refresh it every year too. But, we don't do that no more.
Yeah.
We don't go off trail no more, stuff like that,
Yeah.
We didn't tell the BLM what we were doing up there until it was already done. Then we asked for forgiveness, not permission. They went
Hey,
up
there's
with
a
us.
trail up here. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, they went up there, rode with us, said we did a good job of sticking to the rock. Thank you very much. They signed off on it.
Nice.
Today they can't. They got to run all kinds of environmental impact statements and stuff. It'd be a mess to try to put that trail through there today, Ain't no new trails being built in the area anymore like that.
We're just losing trails.
Well, we lost a lot. We just got a little section up on Hell's Revenge reopened that we lost years ago, and so it's called the Devil's Staircase. We used to call it the Devil's Slide because we went down it. Now you have to go up it. It's one way. And I'm just glad that it's open. It goes from tip over back to the beginning of the trail without having to take that long way out, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But the Golden Spike, we continued on. Texas Bob says, okay, we're going to go to Pizza Hut. That was always a favorite thing to do after the trail. You're going to continue on? I said, yeah. I said, well, we crossed a crack. We crossed some steps. We jumped some big ledges. After we're done eating pizza, we'll come look for you. Well, we were actually eating pizza when they pulled in. They couldn't believe we'd already made it. Because, the double whammy was an obstacle that everybody had to go up. And I had a CJ7, and it was locked front and rear with 35s, like I said. Stacked a couple little rocks. You could get the whole Jeep up on the first ledge, and then you could climb the second ledge. Now it's been beat back to where it's just 2 ledges close to each other, and it's hard to get up over them. But 4-door JKs, there's a perfect line. You walk right up it with a little Moab bump. That's the technique. Just before your rear tires touch, you give it a little tap on the throttle. Half the throttle, half a second is what I tell people.
Yeah. It's a good.
Get back off of it, the Moab bump.
Yeah.
But, we got out of there, and, we called it the Golden Spike. And the next day I went across there with about, 100-something vehicles following me. One of the guys had a great big, beautiful yellow International Scout. And on the double whammy, he rolled it over upside down. Of course, we took pictures. And when I got back to town, I told Dottie over at the T-shirt shop, okay, we got to have a T-shirt for this Golden Spike Trail. You want to have a big yellow Scout laying on its top with a big gold spike driven right through the floorboards, And that's the T-shirt she still sells today for the Golden Spike Trail.
Nice.
But, the Golden Spike's a great trail. It's a good, all-day run. You get to do 3 trails. Some people have been calling it the trifecta or something.
Trifecta.
Whatever, I don't call it that. It's the Golden Spike, and it involves doing a bunch of Poison Spider and all the way down Gold Bar. It's 3 trails,
Nice.
When I get off of Gold Spike and on Gold Bar, it's when I eat the jelly donut I take with me, It's tradition, Get everybody that far without something being broke.
Yeah.
This past Jeep Safari, I had about 35 vehicles follow us, and, a mid gunner or 2 and a tail gunner. And we didn't have as much as a flat tire or even a cracked drive shaft, nothing. We had
That's
a great
good.
group, yeah.
Nice.
Excellent.
Well, today's Jeepers, most everybody's showing up in JKs, and everybody's gone to the 4-doors because they wheel well out here,
Yeah. Longer wheelbase.
Yeah, so they just do so good. I remember when we had carburetors, you started up a long hill like on Hell's Revenge. You hit the little bump at the top, and it'd go poop, 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 poop. And it'd flood out, and it didn't have no vacuum. You hit the brakes hoping that they would hold, and somebody had to quickly back down and put a strap on them so they didn't roll all the way down the hill, and drag them to the top and try to get the thing, because it's all flooded out.
Right.
And, fuel injection is one of the best things they came up with, Yeah, it's a good thing,
Yeah.
Like, today also you guys commented as I pulled up that my tires were already aired down.
Yeah.
I leave them that way. I don't drive around anywhere. If I'm going to hit the interstate, for an hour or two, then I'll air them up to 22, 25 pounds maybe. But other than that, when I go out, my tires look like they're flat. Then I air them back up to 12 pounds. I ask people, you aired down? Oh, yeah, we dropped it from 35 to 25. We're aired down. No, you're not.
Nope. Go further.
From 15 down, every time you drop a pound, the ride improves, Yeah. Because the tire becomes part of your shock absorber,
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in making your tires part of your shock suspension, your shocks.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about Moab, okay?
Yeah.
Moab busted when the uranium mill shut down out here, and 7 out of 10 houses were empty.
That was when the 50s?
90-something.
Oh, 90s. Okay.
Yeah, 92-ish, about the same time I started my thing.
7 out of 10 houses were vacant.
Oh, yeah. You could buy a house from a bank for about $12,000.
Wow.
And today that house is listed for $520,000. A little 3-bedroom house with little bedrooms, no carport, and a driveway that's only about 8 feet wide.
Wow.
If even that.
Jeez.
But that's what the real estate market's doing around here. I was telling you, I had a body shop downtown. The guys, when I moved out of it, I gave them the keys back, told them thank you, and they handed them back to me. They told me, give us $18,000, it's yours. I don't want this building. I gave it back to them. Oh, come on, $16,000, it's yours. 14, 12. I gave him back the keys. Said, I don't want this. And I had $18,000 in my pocket.
Yeah.
Because I just sold all the equipment to another friend of mine, And I went over and managed his shop. Well, coulda, woulda, shoulda. I ran into these 2 brothers here back a few years ago. And they said, we just sold you that building for $10,000. That'd been $5,000 a piece. We'd have been happy to get rid of it. I think they sold it to somebody else for that, Coulda, woulda, shoulda. And I think the last time it sold for $1 million something,
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's not that many years changed, But that's the way real estate in Moab went from nothing back up, And now, with tourism coming here, with the, somebody came up, Colin Fryer has a big ranch up the river, Red Cliffs Lodge. He came up with the idea of, come visit the Mighty Five in Utah, Arches, Canyonlands, Bryce, Zion, Capitol Reef, 5 national parks, and people are just coming from everywhere,
Yeah.
And, in years past in our Jeep business, a lot of our tourism comes from people staying at the KOA campground or whatever. They're driving a rented vehicle. They don't have something to drive around the parks or whatever. So, let's go on a sunset tour. So we go pick them up at the park and take them out and have a good time with them, We've been known to even swing by city markets so they can pick up some groceries on the way home.
On the way in, yeah.
But, that's what you do. You try to be good to people and friendly to people. I see folks, I always, this morning I got over here late to you guys because I was talking to some people outside of the Moab Diner. They had a nice big Jeep. I said, back, 30 years ago, I had the biggest, baddest Jeep in town, but not anymore. Look at yours. He said, he says, it's a rich man's game.
Yeah.
Buy a Jeep just each and every pocket, just empty each every pocket. Just exchange every part. Just expect every problem.
Just exchange every part. I like that one too.
Just expect every problem. Jump each and every pothole. Yeah.
You've heard them all.
Yeah.
He's probably come up with half of them. So
Moab, most outrageous and beautiful. Moments of absolute bliss.
That's a good one.
That's
Moab, was the Moab bomb, massive ordnance air blast, How dare they name a bomb after our good little city? Some of the people said, well, where do you think the uranium ore came to build all that stuff?
Yeah.
Right.
That big uranium tailing pile on the edge of town is a big Superfund cleanup site. They've been trying to, they ship it out of here by railroad just up to the interstate where they're putting it in the ground up there. They're getting it off the river here where there's a water source. If something happened and all that went down the river, it would not be good at one time, It'd contaminate Lake Powell and drinking water and for everything for other people. So they're moving it. Thank goodness. It's going to be another 15 years before they're done. But they've done a lot of work. They've moved a tremendous amount of ore out there. And they take it by railroad up, like I said, to the interstate. It's put a lot of people to work, and they're going to retire there, It's been a good job for them over 20, 30 years. But,
so how long, you said that Moab kind of went into this bust in the 90s. How long until it kind of started coming back? Because it seems like it's in pretty good shape. It's a bustling area now.
Yeah, it took years. It was tough. I was on the Moab City Council at that time, and I can remember when the city bought a new dump truck, and all the city council members and the mayor, we rode the dump truck during the parade just to show people, yeah, look, woo, we're doing good. Look, we were able to buy a dump truck. It was tough. Tough, lean years for sure. But
has the recreation been a big major part of Moab coming back, or is
certainly
it
has been? We have, like I said, the 3 national parks. They worked at paving the road all the way out to Dead Horse and Canyonlands, and made it to where people didn't have to drive a dirt road out there.
Yeah,
and all the way on the Canyonlands, all the way out to the point. It was good. Now they can take tour buses out there and such, and a lot of people come here. We get a lot of European visitors in my business, and das is good. It's hot. Yeah, back home it's raining all the time. We love the heat. And your speed limits are fast here. It's just not the Autobahn, the long straight roads.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to do 100 mile an hour.
Yeah,
No, they're not.
I had a couple of Germans one day. They were coming to Moab. And, I think you just passed the sheriff. Makes you think, well, he's trying to catch up to us in that pickup truck. Let's outrun him. Can't outrun the radio.
Yeah.
No. That was something my father told me when I was young. You might be able to outrun one cop, but you can't outrun the radio.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the progression of vehicles with a possible impact in the environment?
Well, stay the trail. Or stay home. That's my philosophy.
Okay.
Side by sides. Been a big problem in Moab with the noise and such with some people. Sounds like money to me.
Okay,
They don't bother me.
Yeah. They help fuel the economy out here. So everybody that comes in recreation.
But see, we're getting a lot of people coming in from out of California, and such, and they're bringing they want to get away from what they had there. But then once they get here, they want,
Yeah, Moab's not the best place to go if you're looking for quietness, in my opinion. The views are outstanding.
Yeah, but there's signs all around town. We support quiet streets, the city council lowered speed limits for ATVs to 15. And, there was quite the education process took over the past couple of years, and a lot of stuff on the internet about it, and if we don't want to lose Moab, we need to play by the rules. We need to not be racing up and down the streets and side streets, at 10 at night when people are trying to go to sleep with our whips on, flashing lights and everything else,
Yeah.
So when you come into town, turn your whips off. I don't care what color they are.
Yeah.
Turn your stereo down.
Yeah.
They got them loud boxes so they can hear it while they're in that vehicle making lots of noise. I jokingly one day I told a guy, I said, you guys, us Jeeps, we consider you, and it was me, I guess. I said, we consider you the illegitimate bastard stepchildren of the four-wheel drive industry. He pumped his chest a couple of times with his right hand and said, yep, that's me, all right. But, you got, they're part family. You got to educate them. Sometimes they need to be brought and told in line, tell them what to do. I see them running on the trail where they shouldn't be because they think they can go anywhere sometimes. And, hey, this orange line is up here to stop you guys from going out on that point any further. Please bring your vehicle back here. Well, who died made you God? Well, I'm not God. No, I just tell you that you can get a $600 ticket and your vehicle impounded if a BLM Ranger came by. Well, they're not going to come by. Well, they ride out here on mountain bikes all the time. You just don't see them.
Yep.
They're looking around, watching people going where they shouldn't go, and they swoop on them once in a while, Yeah,
there's a lot of new people that are getting into the off-roading and getting into side-by-sides because they're super capable, but they don't understand the fights that we've been through to keep trails open and get trails open.
The thing is that they're just advertised they can go anywhere, to do anything, jump anything, jump everywhere, do whatever they want. And on the trails, the speed limit out there is 20 miles an hour also. And they like to go zip, zoom, zoom, splat.
Zip, zoom, zoom, splat.
The rentals in town's a big thing too, because see people come in and, by golly, I'm paying $500 for the day to ride this thing. Woo-hoo!
I'm going to go everywhere.
They're out there making circles in the sand out there, throwing sand in a pile. And next thing you know, that four-wheel drive kicks in good, and they lay it over on its side,
Yeah.
And when you rent one of them things, they take a $3,000 deductible deposit on your credit card. And when you come back with any damage, they just took it from you.
Yep. Yeah, they just put it on your deposit. So
Yeah, they take it.
wow.
But I like them.
Yeah.
You know, there are
Yeah.
people coming here and having fun and enjoying things. They're spending money. They're eating in the restaurants. They're buying fuel. You know, they support our emergency room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're buying groceries at the grocery store.
Exactly.
You know, they're spending their money.
Does I assume you have quite of extensive knowledge in the background, like the city council side of stuff, chamber of commerce side of stuff. I assume they all understand the economic impact that recreation brings to Moab and vehicular recreation and everything too, right?
Yeah, they understand it. But like I said, we have the liberal group that's moved into the downtown area, and they've taken over the city council. And, you know,
Gotcha.
I'm talking Democrats, you know. They're the ones that want the quiet streets. They want this. They could care less if all them side-by-sides were here. They want it to be a quiet little town. And it's never going to go back to that, you know.
No, it never will.
They were trying to implement the noise ordinance, you know. And, you know, there's certain standards set by the industry. And it went to the up north at the, you know, House of Representatives, stuff like that there.
Yeah.
And, you know, they said that Moab did not have the ability to do it, and they kind of slapped them a little bit, you know. And
To try to make a quiet ordinance?
yeah, you couldn't do that stuff, you know. And so, you know, there's still, you know, they've got a lot of people in the off-road industry that are fighting to keep trails open, not only here, but just nearby the San Rafael Swell. There's a big fight going on over that area right now.
Yeah.
And just right outside of Moab here, the people want to close down a lot of trails, including Spike and
Yeah.
you know, everything, that whole area. They want to claim it as a wilderness kind of thing.
Is that in the Gemini Bridges area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole Gemini Bridges
Kind of
fight.
talked about that a little bit.
Yeah. I used to drive over the bridges. I actually got a.
Oh my gosh.
I think I got the last picture of a vehicle parked on the bridges. You know.
Wow.
They were under construction, closing it down. And I went out there on a Sunday, moved their barricades, went out there, parked my new Jeep on it, and
Took a
took some
farewell picture.
pictures. And that's it.
The one that was out here today? Same
No.
Jeep? Different
No,
Jeep?
no.
Okay.
It was when I bought my first 4-door in 2009.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. So what do you think the future of Moab holds here? Seeing from your experience of being here since 78, seeing the evolution of everything and seeing how things have kind of gone so far, do you think, what do you think the future holds over the next few years and into the unforeseeable future for the area?
Whether you like it or not, Moab is going to continue to be an off-road industry, continue to be people hiking, biking, motorcycles, river rafting, people jumping off cliffs, doing their shoots with their, paragliding, everything else. I mean, we got helicopter flights out there at the airport.
Where can we do guided tour cliff jumping, base jumping? I need to get on this one.
There's a few of them that do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Canyon
It's
cliffs.
right that one
over
right there.
Down the building. Yeah.
Jump
Okay,
off
good.
that one, the
I'll be
landing
back later,
pad.
guys. So
But there's just about everything you want to do here in Moab for recreation. And it's going to continue to be that. It's a recreation place. And
Yeah.
whether you like it or not, I see us headed towards like Aspen and Vale almost,
yeah.
They're building $1 million homes around here and there. And it won't be long before the billionaires push the millionaires out, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
If you don't have land here right now, you can't afford to buy it.
That's an interesting
It's
thought.
very hard. It's very hard to get anybody to work for you here in town because housing, they can't find a place to live. I had a guy come in, want to drive Jeeps for me a couple of days ago. Said, "Where are you staying?" "Well, I'm sleeping in my car. I'm perfectly fine right there." "Well, where do you park it?" "Well, wherever. Yeah, well, where are you getting a
Different
shower?"
spots
"Well,
each
I got
day.
a place I can get a shower once a week, and not the kind of people that I can hire, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's hard. Moab has gone, it's priced people out. There's a guy in town I mentioned earlier, Colin Fryer. He's building a great big old building he bought from somewhere. Looked like something that the miners lived in or drillers lived in. And it's on the ground over here near the bowling alley. They're just setting it up right now. It's gray in color. And it looks, when I look at it, I see Noah's Ark. It's long. It's the longest building in town. But it's for his employees. It's going to be employee housing,
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, put employee housing in there and then let people get in. he's taking care of his people, but that's what you got to do. If you want employees, you got to
take
provide
care of
things for them.
Yeah.
And the city council and the county council, they're working towards, okay, if you're building a new development, a certain amount of it has to be for locals, not just for people building
not just resorts home. And vacation time.
That kind of thing. Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting. It seems very similar to what's going on out at Pismo now in California.
Yeah.
There's just resorts and resorts popping up. Hotels are popping up, and they're buying up all the land, and there's not really too much local land happening, at least along the shore. It's all inland a little bit more.
Sure.
But when you start doing that, you start losing access to all that land now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you access coming back off the backside of Hell's Revenge may soon be closed, in my opinion. When they start building them homes up there, they're not going to want people coming through there in the middle of the night.
No, they're not in a housing development area. Yeah, there was a lot of construction going on when we came down there last year. So
what?
They built some hotels just outside of town here, a little ways before you get to the river. And last year they couldn't even open them up because they couldn't get employees.
Oh, wow.
That's it closed. Last year they shut down the Super 8.
Wow.
And a couple others. Denny's is a good restaurant down here. Denny's couldn't make it. We lost Burger King. We lost Arby's. We lost Taco Bell. They were all here at one time.
Yeah.
Wow.
And couldn't survive through the winter and such,
Yeah. Got to have infrastructure. If you don't have the set up infrastructure, then things can't happen.
Well, we got a new Taco Time just opened up in town. It's a trailer, you see.
We noticed that coming in last night.
Order online and pick it up. Taco Time. Yeah, they're doing good business. But then you got people like Wendy's got a lot of infrastructure down there, building. They're like, well, how come they can do that over there and take our business away from us? Just a trailer?
Wendy's can open their own trailer.
Yeah, but they did. They got a building and they can't get employees to work the thing,
Sure. Yeah.
They shut down the inside dining because they don't have 5 people in. They can't
keep it clean inside. Wow.
Yeah, so it's interesting, it's hard finding employees. You're going to have to, the future of Moab is like what they're doing here. Reth Colin's doing the thing with his building. You got to provide for your people,
Yeah, for your family. Right. Yeah.
Of course, the city's got an ordinance. If you even throw a sleeping bag on the trampoline, you are camping, and that's not allowed in the city.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I let Dennis from Terraflex park his motorhome behind my shop one day during Jeep Safari for that week, and he wanted to be able to plug in his CPAP on electricity, And I got a nasty letter from the city about camping is not allowed in the city in a residential lot.
Oh, man.
Wow.
So there are a lot of, you were talking about closures and threats to our land. What can people do to help keep the lands open or help prevent issues from arising?
Well, to prevent the issues is to not go off the trail. One of the big things, give people, look at what they did. Look at here, look at they did this, that, the other. Don't give them something to point at. And when issues come up and you're made aware of it, the internet's very good at that.
Yeah.
You can write the appropriate people, telling them to back this thing, not that thing, and the other. The BLM's always doing some survey somewhere, and you got to write. And the off-road industry is getting better at writing letters and such.
Yeah.
I go down there and I talk to them directly, myself, but they get the idea of what I'm talking about all the time.
What about, then this is just something I just thought of because from talking with you, is you said a lot of the people moving in downtown, the left-wing move-in is getting all the seats on city councils and whatnot. Would that be a feasible idea for the off-road community to start doing if you care about an area?
Well, let me tell you what happens, okay? You got 4 people running for the city council seat.
Okay.
Two left, 2 right, okay? Okay. The 2 right stay in it to win, and they split the vote between them. The left, a month before the election, says, and it happened, Democratic committee supports this person for mayor. We'll go through all our support there. So everybody votes for her. Nobody votes for the other person, you see. And then she outvotes the other 2.
Yeah.
Right.
If it was 2-on-2, it would
Yeah.
work out. We'd get it, you know.
Even if the right takes 50% of the votes and the left takes 50% of the votes,
Really, the right's getting 25 and 25,
Exactly.
and
Right.
the left's getting 50%.
50.
So we got to wise
win.
up on what we're doing.
Yeah.
I know we had a couple of good candidates announce their candidate for mayor this year, and as soon as they saw what was happening, they pulled out. So it's not worth us fighting the fight. We're not
Yeah,
gonna win,
infighting. Yeah.
you know.
Huh. Interesting.
Got to decide who we want in there and get one person kind of a thing. That's what really needs to happen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good goal to work towards. I think that if you have trails in your local neck of the woods, look into getting on these decision-making councils if you care about those trails.
Well, we got, in Moab, we got trail mix committees and this, that, and the other. And those that are the most vocal get what they want.
Yep.
There's a lot of 2-track trails for bicycles being built around here and there and everywhere. But they're vocal about it.
Yeah.
We finally got this little section on Hell's Revenge reopened up, because we got some people involved.
How does being vocal, like, is that just writing into the decision makers? Is it showing up at city council meetings? Is it
It's all of the above.
all of the above? Okay.
Support the Blue Ribbon Coalition and people like that, and United 4-Wheel Drive, things like that. They're out there and they're working on the state and local levels and on national, to try to get bills passed that are favorable and stop others,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's good stuff, man. So if people wanted to either say hi to you or come get a tour from you when they're in Moab, how can they do that? How can they get a hold of you?
Well, they tell me I pass people on Hell's Revenge and I'm talking to somebody and the word legend always seems to come up, Well, you're talking to a legend. Don't you know that? Well, yeah, I do. Yeah, Dan Mick is a legend. When I was on the city council, I was mayor pro tem for a year of the city. That way, if the mayor didn't show up to the meeting, I got to chair the meetings,
Okay.
And we had separated him from his powers as mayor administrator, so he was mad. He didn't come to a lot of the meetings. So I got to chair a lot of meetings that last year. So, the mayor of Slick Rock, that's another one that came up,
Nice.
More so the legend of Moab, But, just type in Dan Mick on the internet and you'll find Dan Mick's Guided Jeep Tours, and look for the video of the 2 girls screaming in the Jeep as I'm going up out of the gates of hell. Why are we doing this? I don't know. She's doing the cross over her.
There's no other way to get out of here now.
We're down in here. We got to get up. But why did we come down in here?
So we could get out.
But, you can find us on the internet, and our phone number's, 435-259. It's an easy one, 4567.
Okay, nice. That's easy.
Yeah, and my personal number is 435-260-1234.
1, 2, 3. Nice.
My P.O. box is 1234 Moab, Utah. So
Okay.
you get the idea. I've been here since hell froze over.
Yeah, you get to start kind of, when you're here for a while, you get to start picking numbers that are fun and easy to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the cell phones came out, I was able to pick my own number there, and it worked out good.
Nice.
Yeah. My wife's number was the 1234, and I took it away from her.
Do you think you're ever going to leave this place?
Nope.
No, you're here to stay, huh? Forever and ever.
Well, I did just, my wife and I, we go down to Quartzsite, Arizona in the winter for a week or so just to see him. Well, we were down there this year. We went to go look at the toy haulers at this RV show.
Uh-oh.
I'm rebuilding a 65 GTO convertible in my shop. And I wanted a toy hauler. I could put that in and we could tow behind my Dodge, and wanted a little living space up front. Well, they don't make toy haulers that big. They said, you need to buy a coach. And the first one they showed my wife was $500,000. And I said, no, honey.
Yeah.
So they went and showed us one that was, a little over a quarter and $269,000. I said, we can't afford this. The guy says, well, if we can get financing for you, would you buy it? Here, sign this paper. It's a no regret.
No regrets deal?
Yeah.
No regret deal.
You're not going to back out on us.
How long does that regrets last for, the no regrets?
Well, they had financing in 24 hours.
Okay.
I didn't know I had that good a credit.
Nice.
We drove home in a nice coach, when it was brand new. It was well over $500,000. And, it's a nice coach. We're going to make payments on the rest of our lives. and we'll still be paying on it when we're dead, I think.
You'll be able to travel around and.
Well, my kids, they all say, okay, whoever takes over the payments gets to keep it, right, Dad? Yeah. But it's a nice coach, you know, and you deserve something like that when you get to be 70 years old.
How many kids do you have?
Oh, you did ask that, didn't you?
Oh, uh-oh.
I got 5 daughters and 2 sons, and I adopted 2 more granddaughters, so I claim to have 9.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they keep you busy. We actually were all together the other day for a little celebration of birthday parties. And we realized somebody did it. Hey, everybody's here. Let's get together and have a picture.
Oh, that's cool.
Family photo.
So it's on the internet right now somewhere there, you know.
Are they all pretty local here? Or are they spread out across the country for you?
No, they're all pretty local here. I got one daughter living in Grand Junction over there, running a bank over there as a manager over there pretty much. And I got a son that lives up in Tooele, but he comes down and he leaves his family up there every year, and he goes back and forth. He's up there right now at this moment. But he drives for us down here, drives Jeep. You know, I got a bunch of drivers, myself, my 2 sons, and a couple other guys.
Yeah.
I got Doug McElhaney. He sold me my land, runs a real estate company here. He's up on Poison Spider right now, leading some people around.
Nice.
You know.
I think I spoke to your son when I called in.
You haven't. You're not successful in something until you're making money in your sleep.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, good idea.
They're making me some money, you know.
There you go.
It's good, but yeah, I'll be around here. You know, you can usually call, get a hold of my son Richard. He's taken over the business, and you know, my son Robert is helping them both. The 2 of them together will end up with it when I die.
They're gonna keep the name on there, Dan Mick.
They probably will because it's famous, you know.
Yeah.
My son Richard said, "When you die, Dad, I'm going to legally change my name.
Take over
I'll
the
be
name.
Dan Mick."
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't think he will, but
He can do that now and just be a junior.
Yeah. I don't know. His wife was kind of looking at St. George, you know. He's got some family over there, and you know, he's there. I'll go open up a store over there, and my other brother can have this one here, and you know, it's like St. George. If you haven't been over there, they got their trails, but if you put your fingers together, touch your fingers together, there's all their trails inside your hand. You know, they're on that one little kill.
Oh yeah.
You know, Sand Hollow.
Yeah.
If you take Moab, you put your fingers outward. That's where the trails are in Moab. They're all out there somewhere, you know.
It's such an expansive space out
here.
here.
Very much expansive. You go from one river, the Green, all the way to the Colorado and to the mountains. And, you know, you got the border with Colorado and going north. Most of them are here south of the interstate, you know. There's over, like I said, 5,000 miles of trails in Grand County a number of years ago. Still 3,000. That's enough to drive from here all the way to Michigan and back.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a lot of trails, you know.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Some of the more popular ones, with the internet being what it is, everybody wants to go see Top of the World.
Oh, yeah. Yep. The iconic one.
Yeah. We drove a car all the way up there a year or so ago for Safe Light repairs, Safe Light replace. They got a brand new vehicle from some dealer and put some different wheels on it because I knew they'd beat them up a bit. They drove it all the way up there, did a lot of pin scratching on it, pin striping. That'll buff out, they said. Somebody's going to buy that thing brand new with some miles on it and think it's never been off-road.
Yeah. How's for somebody coming into the area, coming in to visit Moab, what do you recommend? What are some trails that you think are good ones to either start on or that are like just iconic? You got to get out and see this.
Yeah, you got to get, you know, start on fins and things. 7 Mile Rim.
Okay.
Nice easy trails, a little bumpy here and there, nothing too drastic. Jump from there, you can go up to, you know, Hell's Revenge. You don't have to do all the obstacles on Hell's Revenge. You can tiptoe through it all and have a great time. Yeah. You can go around some of the ledges, and there's always an easier spot. That's part of the trail there, you know. And you can get all the way out to the viewpoint, and you stop and watch people coming up out of the gates of hell and say, I don't want to do that. We were out there a couple of years ago, and you can find this on the internet. Just type it in, Kia, Hell's Revenge.
Kia?
My son drove a Kia Sorrento up out of the gates of hell. You know, they came and asked us if we could do it. Well, it's your car. We'll try anything. And so we took them out there, and you know, we had a working car, and then we had the picture car the next day. So the working car, we got it all the way out there. My son took the easier routes online, stacked a rock or two. We got it out there. It had a tire on it that was 1 P metric size larger, but still fit inside the fender well.
Okay.
and they put a little oil pan skid plate underneath that they fashioned on it, But we went on out there, We got in the bottom of the hill. Anything can get down there, The go down side, I call, the highway to hell.
Yeah.
And the other side's the stairway to heaven,
Yeah.
And being how many people go down one way and go up the other, it tells you how many go in each direction in the end.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, anything can get down there. We got in the bottom there, and there's a bunch of people watching us, to watch us F up Kia,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And, after 4 hours of trying everything we could to get it out of there, we couldn't. The lady from Kia left and went back to town, and she was very upset that the car didn't work and they couldn't get it out of there. And this whole big advertising campaign they were planning on, was going to be a bust. She told us to winch it out of there. So we got down there and we disconnected the sway bars on it for the heck of it, which she wouldn't let us do, And I called her up, said, "It's up." "Oh, so quick. You didn't hurt anything, did you?" "Winch it out." No, we just drove it out of there."
Yeah.
"What?" We had rocks stacked on we opened the trunk and stacked the thing full of rocks, trying to get more traction.
Yeah.
The car just wouldn't flex, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disconnected sway bars on it, and it flexed just enough. It got over that first hump. And then with me standing at the top telling Richard, a little more passenger driver, give it a little more gas. Stop, back up, get a little more passenger, whatever, He was able to drive it all the way to the top,
Nice.
So we did the same thing the next day, but a whole bunch of guys from Hercules Tire were out there with a bunch of rentals from one of the Jeep rentals in town. And you can come to Moab and rent a vehicle from a lot of different places. Anyhow.
Do you do rentals as well?
I don't. No, you ride with me.
Gotcha.
And it's better because you get me and my guys to tell you the stories.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's what I would want.
Well, I got a guy tomorrow that was supposed to follow me in his new Jeep. And this morning he said, "You know what?" After I had breakfast with him, he said, "I think I'd rather ride with you."
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do. And I'm happier.
Yeah. That's what I would do. I would go out instead of driving something. I'd rather ride with you too. Listen to all the stories the whole day. That'd be fun.
Well, you can see where my son was driving up the hill there, and I'm talking to him. And he drove it all the way to the top. Kia, Hell's Revenge, and then they cut that from they had that at the LA Auto Show. Introducing the new 2018 Kia Sorento, and off come this sheet and
The video.
There's the car, and on the big screen, 65 feet wide, 35 feet tall. There's the thing at the bottom of the hills, going on in there. So they played that video, and of course, all the reporters are looking at like, "You are fucking kidding me." So I used the F-bomb there.
It's all right. We have an explicit rating. You're good.
But anyhow, these guys from the tire company, you couldn't have paid a crowd of people more money to jump up and down like popcorn on a hot grill.
He got to the top.
When they got top, yay! They were all out there to watch them F up a car, But they had some girl having to go around and make sure everybody signed a contract that it was okay with their
Video release. Yeah.
release, And then, so they played that video at the LA Auto Show, and then of course they paid us a certain amount of money, about $650 for the day's work that we did. But when they played it at the LA Auto Show with us in it, then that's when, because they made us Screen Actors Guild members. Yeah, that's when they had to start paying us more money,
That's right, yeah.
For the right to use it at auto shows. And then 6 months later, they cut me out of it and made a 30-second commercial, which aired on TV nationally, and nations divided into different sections, And each time it played in a different area, they had to send my son more money. And I know, I believe he collected somewhere in the area of about $85,000.
Wow.
For having driven that stupid car up that hill. As being a Screen Actors Guild member.
Yep.
That's a fun story.
Yeah, if you ever get to do that with somebody, make sure they sign you up.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Video rights and video rights usage. So if you're ever recorded on something that's going to be used for monetary purposes, you get to be signed up for a Screen Actors Guild, and then you get video usage rights.
What do you got me signed up for here?
On here?
I'm making money today.
Oh, I wish we made money with this.
Well, it's been a real pleasure to be here and talk with you guys.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun,
Yes,
Dan.
thank you
It's been
so
a lot
much.
of fun. I've enjoyed it. We've talked about Moab and history, and Moab is going to do good. It's going to continue to be here. Keep coming. Keep having fun.
Yeah.
Obey the rules. Stay the trail or stay home, like I said.
Yep.
And have a good time here. You can come here. You can do hiking, biking, river rafting, jeeping, side by sides. You can go out and just get lost for a while. Don't get really lost. Search and rescue is very busy anyhow. A lot of search and rescue is people that are, like I say, jumping off cliffs and the parachute don't open or something like that,
Yeah.
Be prepared. That's one of the things I want to talk about. You want to drink at least a gallon of water every day when you're out there, especially in the summer, a gallon and a half.
Okay.
Take plenty of water. Take more than you need. When I'm out on the trail, I pass the mountain bikes on Hell's Revenge, stop and ask them if they're okay. Hey, you got any extra water?
Here you go.
We got a whole bunch of Cub Scouts here. We don't understand. We ran this trail last week. A couple of us, and we ran this whole thing in about 2.5 hours, and we're on 6 hours. We're still not done.
Jeez.
That's because you can only go as fast as that short little fat boy on a bike that is not meant to be a mountain bike, and he's holding everybody up. They're drinking all their water now. Everybody needs something. Now you say Cub Scouts. You said, what was that motto? Always be prepared.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we're prepared to take your water. I had a cooler full of ice and it had soda pops in there, and I gave out all the soda pops. That doesn't help you much at all, but it tastes sweet and gets you going a little bit.
It's a little bit more extra energy to finish up.
Gives you some sugar.
That them pop cans rattling around in there. So the water starts to look a bit aluminum. It's that gray look.
Yeah.
Man, they drained every little bit of ice and water and everything. It was empty. They drank it. They didn't care. It was wet.
Yeah.
I've found people many times. I worked search and rescue for quite a few years. But, come across people all the time. Shame on me, shame on me, shame on me. Yeah. I've got my children lost and I have no torch. Where you from? England. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no torch. Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
You drag them out of there,
Yeah.
Or a husband and wife, I started to ask them, it was dark and we're coming off Hell's Revenge after sunset. Hey, do you guys need some water? She yells. So we give them water and we told them to ride in the headlights because they could see because it was dark. They had no lighting at all, And the guy was riding, but the woman, she's 65, he's 72 or so. And she's not riding. She's barely pushing the bike. She's leaning on it more than pushing it, When my passenger jumps out, he says, I can't take this no longer. He takes her, lays her bike down, carries her back over, puts her in my seat, and she's, thank you, thank you, thank you. And he rides her bike out, you see.
Wow.
But she's trying to drink the water. She's got it in her hand, and she's shaking the bottle so hard.
Oh,
she's shaking more water out all over the place. It's getting in her mouth, She'd have died out there if we hadn't showed up that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be prepared to whatever you're going to go do out here. I know during search and rescue one time, there was a young girl. She was not going to pee behind the bushes. No way. So she drank some water before they left, had some orange juice and stuff, but she didn't drink no water on the trail while they were out mountain biking.
Oh, no.
And, she had a soda pop at lunch. All that does is help to dehydrate you more. And, she fell off the bike, went unconscious, and, unfortunately, she did not survive.
No way.
Wow.
She died out there,
Dehydration.
People go swim the river. Colorado's tempting, Woohoo! I'm going to swim the Colorado, the mighty Colorado. They jump in and they end up washed down the Colorado, maybe a half mile or a mile. And if they're lucky, they get out. If not, they get washed under, And then, there's a certain number of days, the heat and how big they are. You can pretty much predict what day and hour they're going to pop back to the surface.
Wow.
And it's not pretty.
No. Yeah.
But, plan out things. Use your brain. A lot of people unplug and the way they go.
We're big fans of telling people if you don't have a lot of experience or you're new to an area, say you are really experienced, but you just don't know the area, it's a new area for you, seek out people like you.
I have people who come in when they're going to Jeep for a week, and they'll go out with me the first day they're here, pick my brain about trails and stuff, and you tell them what trails, when I'm out with them for a day, I can pretty much tell what kind of vehicle and what capabilities they have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, I go out, take people on Hell's Revenge, they're following me. I get out to the gates of hell. I said, you know what? I think maybe you should ride with me. And then if you want to try it, I'll help spot you up through there.
Yeah.
And they'll go ride around through there and go down and up the other side. And I'll say, okay, you ready? Yep, we're ready to continue on the trail. But that's it. You judge people. Some other people are, I go out there and say, hey, just follow me down here. Some people I got to get out and spot them, left a little bit passenger, a little bit driver.
Yep.
You don't say left and right because your left is their right.
Yeah,
correct.
That doesn't work for people. It doesn't even work sometimes saying driver and passenger. They still don't.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't register.
Yeah, but still, when you're excited, stay off the throttle. You can crawl everything around here in Moab on the rocks. Other trails, other parts of the country, you need to be on the throttle.
Can you crawl Pritchett? So like Rocker Knocker and Chewy and everybody, or Rock Pile?
Well, you want to crawl Rocker Knocker. You want to crawl Chewy. There's a spot or two on a rock you need to give it the Moab bump. But, throttle down and going. I mean, I saw a guy the other day come up out of the gates of hell with a side-by-side, and he was from the bottom to the top in less than 2 seconds.
Oh, man.
Wow,
He was
jeez.
just on the throttle, and the thing was in the air more than it was on the ground, but he had the tires spinning hard.
Jeez.
And, he revved it up at the bottom, took a run at it. I told everybody, back up.
Yeah, everybody get out of here.
Because he come flying up there, and he did it about 5 times. He never slowed down.
Wow.
That's insane.
He says, well, when you tow your vehicle all the way out here from Louisiana, you're going to break it before you take it home. Got a trailer to put it on.
I guess if you have that mentality, that's one way to do it.
Some people do,
Yeah.
That's it, woohoo. Be surprised how much fun we're going to have. I got a trailer to take it home. But
Jeez. All right. Well, cool, man. I don't want to take up any more of your day. This has been fantastic. Maybe we'll connect with you next year and sit down and see how it goes, man. Yeah.
if, Lord willing, I'm still here. No problem.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll have to check in next year and see how things are going, man. So thanks for coming out today. Hopefully if people come out and visit Moab, go find Dan. He's around town somewhere, or he's out on a trail, or you call the office there, ask where you're at. Set up a sunset tour. I think that sounds fantastic. That's what we're going to try and do tonight. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, you don't have to have your own vehicle. You can rent something around town and follow me, or you can just climb in with me or one of my drivers. That's what we do more of than anything nowadays.
Yeah.
Take people out, tell stories. Some of them are true.
Yeah.
Some of them are the way Dan remembered it. So.
Right. Well, cool. I like to do a fun thing at the end of the episode where we just kind of give a final words. It can be anything you want. So Jimmy's used to it. So we'll start with him. Jimmy, final words for everybody out there.
I think what I'm learning from this adventure here is just travel safe. Think about what you're doing. Use your brain, as Dan said, and have safe travels.
Cool. Dan, final words for everybody out there?
Oh, shiny side up, greasy side down. Have a good time. Come back and have some more fun.
I love it.
Let's go have some fun. I say that a lot when we're doing recordings.
Yeah.
Let's go have some fun. And I drop the mic and I turn my back and I head to the Jeep.
And with that, my friends, keep crawling.
I got one for you.
For me or for all the audience, the studio audience today?
Yes.
All right, what do you got?
Did you know that you can borrow cheese from the bank in Utah?
No.
Yeah, it's called a provolone.
Oh, because there's a town named Provo?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. See what I have to put up with you guys?